A former world number one has sparked a heated debate by openly criticizing some of the top WTA players, accusing them of constantly complaining. This bold statement has stirred divisions within the WTA Tour, raising questions about the current state of women's professional tennis. Although the tennis world has been relatively quiet following the excitement of the US Open, the WTA Tour has continued with two ongoing tournaments. One of the highlights was the Guadalajara Open, where 17-year-old American prodigy Eva Jovic captured her very first WTA title, marking a significant milestone in her budding career. Even as the Grand Slam season wrapped up, competition remains fierce, and a returning former world number one is not holding back her thoughts on her peers. Karolina Pliskova, who recently won her first match in over a year after recovering from a severe ankle injury, is making her comeback at a lower-tier WTA 125 event. Despite easing back into competition, Pliskova has been candid about her views on the current WTA players. In an interview with FlashScore, Pliskova was asked about the frequent complaints regarding the tennis calendar. Contrary to popular opinion, she suggested that the schedule is actually better now than it used to be. She pointed out that prize money for female players has increased significantly, which should be a positive development rather than a source of grievance. Pliskova explained, "I think it's the same, if not better, than it used to be. I know how there used to be a lot of travel. There was the Fed Cup, now called the Billie Jean King Cup, which was held 3 times a year and took up a lot of time, but that's less demanding now." She added an interesting perspective from an older player who recalled that right after the US Open, they had to compete in the Davis Cup, which was played in grueling 5-set matches. And the girls? I feel like they're just always complaining, but I don't know what for. They're also paid more than they've ever been paid, Pliskova remarked. This criticism isn't isolated to the WTA. Carlos Alcaraz, a rising star on the men's side, has also voiced concerns about the demanding tennis calendar, highlighting that the packed schedule can be overwhelming for players. While Grand Slam events now offer equal prize money to men and women, Aryna Sabalenka earned a staggering $5 million after her US Open victory. There remains a noticeable gap in earnings at some other tour-level tournaments. This ongoing disparity continues to fuel debates about fairness and equality in tennis. Despite her critique of the complaints, Pliskova did express her own reservations about certain aspects of the tour. She's not a fan of the newer 2-week ATP WTA 1000 tournaments, which have become more common in recent years. "Yes, they've made some 2-week tournaments, but I feel like it's just killing time," she said. "Everybody's training anyway. They're on their feet. It's not like you take a week off. So I don't really agree with that." Her opinion echoes that of Alexander Zverev, who has publicly stated that no players enjoy the extended Masters 1000 events, suggesting this format change is unpopular among the athletes themselves. Reflecting on how the game has evolved during her career, Pliskova noted that the level of competition has intensified dramatically. She believes that Aryna Sabalenka might be the only player currently who can be considered a certainty to advance beyond the first 3 rounds at Grand Slam tournaments. "I don't like to compare different seasons," Pliskova said, "but before, for example, at the Grand Slam, it was clear that the top players would easily get through the first 3 rounds, and the Elite 10 were rarely upset. Now, maybe only Sabalenka has that certainty." The field is much more competitive. The tennis is more physical. There are about 120 players today who can beat anyone in the top 10. Everyone works hard, has teams, fitness coaches, and all the support they need. As Pliskova works her way back to the top tier of the WTA Tour, she has announced her intention to return to Grand Slam competition at the upcoming Australian Open. Her journey back to form will be closely watched by fans and critics alike. But here's where it gets controversial. Is Pliskova's criticism of her fellow players' complaints fair? Or is she overlooking the genuine challenges athletes face in today's demanding tennis environment? Are the increased prize monies enough to offset the physical and mental toll of the modern tour? And what about the 2-week tournaments? Are they truly beneficial or just an unnecessary extension that wears players down? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with Pliskova's blunt assessment? Or do you think the current generation of players has valid reasons to voice their concerns? Join the conversation and share your perspective in the comments below.